Hey folks, so this is the second parent function that you have for this particular section when we're talking about rational graphs. And so the second parent is going to be the reciprocal square function, This guy's equation is 1 over x squared. So let's just think about some of the things that we would plug in to get our special points here. If we have an x value of 0, that's going to be 1 over 0 squared. And we understand that 1 over 0 squared is going to cause that same vertical asymptote that we talked about in the last video. And then when you think about all of the numbers that you could ever plug in for x and get out a y, you're never going to find anything. So we also have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0 because we cannot get y to equal 0. So it's an undefined place when I plug in 0 for x. If I plug in a 1, this is 1 over 1 squared, so that's going to be at the coordinate 1, 1. If I plug in a 2, that's 1 over 2 squared. So 1 over 2 squared is going to be 1/2 times 1/2, which is going to be 1/4. So at the x value of 2, I have the y value of 1/4. Now, what we have here so far, it actually looks very similar to the reciprocal function that we talked about in the last video. It might be a little bit steeper there, but it basically looks the same. If I plug in a 1/2, this is going to be 1 over 1/2 squared, or 1 over 1/4. And so at the x value of a half, this is going to end up being 4. So this is pretty far up there. I'm not really going to try to hit that, but the deal is that so far, quite frankly, it looks very much like the reciprocal function did. Now let's think about our negatives on the other side of the graph. So when you plug in a -1, this is going to be 1 over -1, and that entire -1 is squared. And we know that when we square a negative, we get a positive. So this is actually going to be a positive 1 here. So we have the x value of -1 yields a y value of positive 1. And what happens is this particular graph is going to cause a mirror image around the y-axis. It is symmetric. We've used that term before, symmetric, about the y-axis. And so this is the parent function for the reciprocal square function. All right, what I would like for you to do is I would like for you, for your embedded question, I would like for you to find the domain, the range, and the increasing and decreasing intervals. All three of those things are review from things that we have done in every single chapter of the semester so far. So please find the domain, the range, increasing, decreasing, and constant intervals, please. All right, we will take a look though at the vertical asymptote and the horizontal asymptote. So for this particular parent, the vertical asymptote occurs at the, at the equation x equals 0. And our horizontal asymptote is going to occur at the equation y equals 0.